My name is Andile Africa Apollos. I live in Samora Machel, in a community out of Cape Town, and I work with youth development organizations, which is now I'm basically involved in one of them, which is called Young in Prison. I work in prison, educating young people through music, and also we actually give the young people there a platform where they can express themselves. I was young, and when I came on the streets, there were guys who's been on the streets, and these guys have been in prison and out of prison. And when you kind of like, standing in the robots and begging for your money, and then the minute you just leaving the robots and they kind of catch you, take your money, take your blankets, take whatever you have, and then it's kind of like painful, man, because you're like, hey, and you even think if I was big enough, I would have like kind of did something or reacted back,
I'm Sifiso Jezile, also known as Earthborn is my stage name in the hip-hop scene. Basically, I'm a project coordinator at the My Life Projects. I'm also one of the founders of the My Life Project as a whole. I'm also busy hosting hip-hop shows in the townships, and recently, just before the World Cup, I started a project called Street Ball, which is using football and music, to actually make a change or create change in the townships. I was, looking for something better. I'll even go to someone's house and I'll just knock at the door, and ask for a place to sleep, because I knew that I don't want to sleep on the street. It's just that the situation that leads me to the street. That's why, those are one of the moments where I knew that I have a dream and I have hope to actually be someone better in the future. So the shelters was a place for me to hide out and actually do a little bit of education when I was in the shelters, And obviously I'll get bored of the shelters and I will run back to the streets again, and you know what I mean, because there was this drug that I was also smoking, which was called Mandrex. I would smoke it whenever I wanted, so for me it was that driving me back into the street to go and smoke it and whatever. So, and I just left it. I didn't go to, it was strong will, to just say, cool, I'm done with this type of stuff. I need now to move forward.
When I hear the word Mother City, it actually reminds me of the first time when I came to Cape Town, which is like the city. Yeah, I quite felt very welcome, because obviously I met, some people who are also facing the same situation that I was facing. So eventually, I got so used to that kind of life, of having friends around who are also searching for a similar, purpose, looking, for a similar thing that I was looking for.
I decided, in protest of the fact that we allow children to live on the streets, I decided to live on the streets for the 16 days of activism. It came out of 8 years of working with the kids and seeing very little improvement in the situation, wanting society to wake up and do something about kids living on the streets. Because whether we like it or not, like a little white American dude sleeping on the streets gets attention, but a little colored or black child on the streets, everyone's callous to that. So if I could make use of my situation and raise awareness, then I was happy to try to do that. Around 2004, I started using music and media to raise awareness, and I'd use hip-hop music at a radio show, but starting to raise awareness of the issues that are happening on the streets and try to change society's mindset of the kids, trying to change society's role that they play in children living on the streets. Yeah, I really kind of moved my work from the ground to trying to make a difference on a bigger level, because each and every year I see the 16 days of activism come and go, and I'm always happy that we spend 16 days speaking out against violence towards women and children. I am happy about that. But in a society where the prevalence of violence towards women and children is so high, it's ridiculous that we only spend 16 days focusing on that.
I believe in a family unit, and there isn't a facility in South Africa that will accommodate a family as a whole unit once they get to into these kind of dire situations, you see. So basically what happens is once they start losing and then they sell the house, they sell the car, they sell the furniture, and they get to this situation and they take the children away and then they dump the adults in a shelter and say, right, now you're motivated to get going. I mean, how's that going to motivate you? It doesn't motivate you. You know, from a psychological point of view, it just pushes you further down. Instead of destroying the family, help keep the family together. That's what God wants. God wants the family, and they must stay together. But this country's not doing it, unfortunately.
Hardest days, like when it's raining, you know, when you can't find food, when you're so hungry and you're starving and you kind of beg, and the only thing you could go back to is like begging a little bit of money and kind of smoke something, you know, smoke glue or smoke petrol or smoke tinners or maybe smoking mandrakes just for you to forget and sleep the whole day until the next day. So what we did, we take out one cigarette, and then this is a cigarette, imagine this is a cigarette. So from the tip of the cigarette, we take out all the cigarettes, and then we take the cocaine, and then we put it in there, and then we kind of squeeze, and then we smoke. That's how we did it. But damn, that used to be high. That used to be high. And I mean, but then it also had like this effect, man, where you feel sleepy, nausea, you feel like vomiting. And then we used to like sleep, man. But the thing is, when you get up, you feel like that's where it's even stronger than when you were smoking it. Man, I mean, that was crazy. So I'm really glad today, you know, that, I mean, but definitely I don't know how I got off drugs, man. You know, I don't know how. The experience I've got on the street is being street smart, you know, in such a way where you get to deal with a lot of, you know, challenges, and also where you get to deal with a lot of individuals coming from different backgrounds, different cultures. I mean, from leaving home and going to the street, you know, and just being around that environment of people who actually can influence you in different ways, which could be a positive way, and also being able to learn and take from different people what works for me, you know. And I think so that kind of experience has helped me a lot, you know, to be able to survive in the years of living on the street. Okay, I would say, you know, some of my friends definitely have passed away, quite a lot of them.
I know a lot of guys who've passed away on the streets. I mean, it's quite a regular occurrence because street life tends to be quite harsh, and if it's not getting stabbed or shot, it's getting TB or AIDS or getting burned by another dude in your sleep or whatever. And then there's just like accidental things like getting hit by cars and things like that. Kids passing away on the streets is quite a common reality. I saw all this stuff that the kids go through and that even adults go through on the streets. I saw the situations they live in. I saw how angry people get when they get so hungry that they just get totally out of control and things like that. I could see all these things all these years, and I think I understand street life, and I understand that thing better than the average South African citizen. But I felt how it feels to really be in that situation and feel that like kind of overwhelming feeling like I don't know if I'll ever eat again. Like it seems like totally out of control, but like you can get to that point where it's like you're so hungry, the soup kitchen won't be open till the next morning, and your stomach is screaming, and you feel a little bit dizzy, and it's hot. It's like summer, and you're like walking, feeling like you might pass out, and you don't know where your next meal will come from. I know that there's rats in town. I've always seen the rats, but I didn't realize what a nuisance the rats are for people living on the streets. I mean, they were like my #1 enemy. Every night, they crawl all over you, they get up in your neck, they climbed up my pants the one night. And there was a point when I was living here where I looked at my life and was just sort of making comparisons to the kids here and the life here, because one of the reasons that I got on so well with the kids is I saw a lot of myself in them, and I saw that if I would have been given the opportunity to live on the streets in the way that they would, I would have definitely ended up in the exact same situation. So then I started looking at my upbringing and my society, and I looked at what kept me away from the streets. Just a common awareness that a child should be in school, and yes, kids don't like school, but that doesn't mean that they should be able to just quit school, and that education should be offered for all for free. Here we just need to focus on taking the option away from the kids. We need to get society in a place where they agree that it is child abuse to allow the kids to be on the street. And then from there, work on community initiatives that work against kids move onto the streets. And then improvement in the education systems in the areas that the kids come from, and more extracurricular activities after school and after school programs, more social support for kids that are going through rough times in the communities. I think those are all ways that we could, begin to see this problem get less. Any initiative that's done with the children living on the streets, or any children for that matter, should be done with the best interest of the children in mind. That's the last sort of statement of the rights of a child in the South African Constitution. And it's definitely not a situation that will go away if we don't actively work against it. So yeah, it'll take years and years to correct, because it took years and years to create. I think what society can do with adults on the streets is just see them as people. Don't treat them like less than people. But any person who does not want to be on the street, I think there are options for them to get off, and there are ways for them to get off, and I think they can.
And the biggest miracle in my life is God has shown me that we are brought up to be judgmental, and even though we sit back and say, well, I'm not really that, I don't judge people, but in a subconscious way, we do. And the biggest thing that he did for me was that it was always a case of, well, for me, I don't like you because you're a drug addict, and he's now separated that. So there's no more drug addicts or alcoholics floating around this world. There are wonderful people with serious problems. And if we can deal with the root cause, then that problem will disappear.
As far as a message to people on the street goes, they're people just like everyone else, and so if you ask me what message do you have for us sitting in this room, I'm sure I would have a different message for each one of you based on your individual needs and wants and desires and dreams and hopes. My message would be to any child who considers living on the street to not go there, to educate yourself, and be the very best version of you that you can be.
Definitely, I wouldn't regret some of the things that the Mother City have taught me, because actually it's exactly what made me who I am today. Because maybe if I wouldn't have came here, maybe I would have been totally a different person. But definitely today, I don't regret anything that Mother City had given me.
I think this society needs people being the very best version of themselves and not settling for less. And that would be my message to everybody in society. If you can be nice and just say hi, give a smile, offer that sense of humanity to another human being, I think we can just all be adults and grow up a little bit and say, like, who cares if they harass me a little bit?
It's been a harsh road. It's been a very harsh road. But it's been a good road from a learning perspective. Learning about me and about life in general, and also just trusting in God, I mean, he's brought me to this, he's going to carry me through, and I just have to trust him. And that's what I do on a daily basis, because there's nothing else I can do.
All you can be responsible for is how you act. You can't be responsible for how others act.
When you just sit down and actually get that moment, of just thinking about life, why me? Why am I here? Why did this happen to me? Because you don't understand, But obviously, at the end of the day, it kind of hits you that everything happens for a reason. So I think that's also something that drives you to kind of find out who you are and where you want to be in the future. So if you are a person who kind of have hope, in life, and see yourself not only living on the street for the rest of your life, but seeing yourself somewhere in life, you know. I mean, for me, it's also like I didn't see that as my future. You know, I had to kind of being strong mentally and physically and find ways and means of taking myself out of those situations. So I think for those years of me living on the street, it has really taught me a lot, you know, of how to face the future. Because one thing, you know, everyone is here for a purpose and everyone has dreams. So if you can realize that and really get to know yourself better and kind of see where you want to go, you know, I think that's the first start. And obviously nothing happens overnight, you know, because definitely that's one thing when you are on the street you wish for. It's like this miracle who could just happen. It's like someone would just take you and put you in a beautiful house and give you a car. But everything takes hard work, you know, everything takes one step at a time. And obviously if you need some help, there's a lot of places out there, you know, which obviously you could go and get some help. Don't give up hope, that's one thing you must never give up in life.
It's my life, and no one can do it for me. It's my life, and I've gotta do it for me. It's my life, and no one can live it for me. It's my life,
My family, my strain, my escape, my train, my freedom, my power, my second, my hour, my means, my end, my strength, my friends, my glue, my heart, my earth, my sky, my poverty, my wealth, my enemy, myself, my hate, my confusion, my love, my delusion, my weapon, my knife, my fight, my life. And this is my life.
It's my life, and no one can do it for me. It's my life, and I've gotta do it for me. It's my life, and no one can live it for me. It's my life,
Yeah.
it's my life.
My choices, my decisions, my mistakes and my revisions, my troubles, my solutions, my struggles, my evolution, my cure, my sorrow, my future, my tomorrow, my voice, my talk, my actions, my walk, my feet, my hands, my dreams, my plans, my words, my story, my victory, my glory, my pain, my strife, my gain, my life. And this is my life.
It's my life, and no one can do it for me. It's my life, and I've gotta do it for me. It's my life, and no one can live it for me. It's my life. And only I can feel the pain, and it's my heart that takes the strain. Though I walk right next to you, I know I gotta walk it through. When these struggles pass me by, maybe then you won't ask why I had to walk this road alone, 'cause I had to do it on my own.
We've been through it all, trials, struggles, and pain. We don't count it as loss, we count it as gain. From the streets to the studio, yeah, that's how we flow. We've been waiting so long for this thing to blow. Now that we're here, let's take a step back. It's for your benefit, we put this message on the track. We want you to know we don't feel self-pity, though some points in our lives have been real gritty. We don't see ourselves as victims, we're stronger, it's true, man. We ask you to do the same, see us as human. We're not asking for something else from your hand, but